We are live at AT&T Stadium in Dallas with our good friends at BladeHQ.com and Big O Tires. And Nelson Caesar is going to sit down. How are you, man? Good to see you. You know, the interesting thing about these events, and I'm curious what you think. Like, how big are these events? Like, is it one of those things where you're ready for these things? Like, how do you feel about stuff like this?
I think it just depends on the type of person and what you like to do. Like, if you're a real talkative, like me growing up, I never was a real talkative guy, so I actually caught myself kind of practicing a little bit, or at least just kind of watching some past interviews and seeing what I feel like I could have done better, so.
But you learn from this stuff. I mean, I think when you look at the way these things generally go, you either thrive in these situations or you struggle in these situations. Do you enjoy the big lights? I mean, by the way, you're kind of in a big,
yeah. I mean, like me personally, I just feel like I'm a football player at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I really wouldn't just down myself or get upset at myself if I just did bad in the media, because
Sure.
at the end of the day, I'm gonna make my money, you know what I'm saying, on the field. So that's how I feel. Yeah.
See, and I think one of the interesting things about that, though, is that's perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, I think that's one of those things that people struggle with a lot. And I think when you play at the level that you play at, and you guys are taking a big step up this year, this is a huge year for you guys. I think, like, how difficult is it for you to have perspective going from an AAC to the Big 12, making that jump? Is perspective difficult?
I mean, I feel like it's football, bro. Somebody just asked me the same question earlier. It's football. Football is football. It don't matter what league you playing in. Football is football. If you go in, you watching film and you studying your film, at the end of the day, you're gonna do the best. Like, you're gonna play the best that you can be.
Football is football.
Right.
See, now I think that's a great standard pat answer, but is the speed not different? Because everybody's talked about this. Hey, it's the Big 12. Everybody's expecting you guys to have a difficult season, and now you're sitting in front of me telling me football is just football.
So I heard the saying that said hungry dogs run faster.
Yep.
So I mean, I think it just depends on who wants it more at the end of the day. If you go back to our 12-2 season, we played Auburn and we beat Auburn in the game that I'm sure a lot of people thought that we would have lost.
Yeah.
So like I said, football is football. Like, it doesn't matter who's in front of us. Like, I'm sure you didn't think that LSU would have lost to Troy in that homecoming game, but they did.
Well,
so I'm just saying, like, football is football, and anybody can be beat on any given Saturday or Sunday.
I would agree with that 100%. Talking to Nelson Caesar from Houston on the Monty Show, thanks to our friends at BladeHQ.com. So, are you guys getting the respect you deserve? I mean, obviously, when you're 20-7 in the last 2 years, you played a huge part in that. Like, do you feel like Houston's getting the respect it deserves?
To tell you the truth, I really don't pay too much attention to the media, but I mean, I would expect not. I wouldn't expect them to respect somebody. Like, you wouldn't respect anybody that you don't know, that you haven't seen anything from. So why would you respect somebody? But I feel like that'll really play in our favor if you don't respect us. So
perspective.
Yeah.
And that's really impressive because I don't get that answer a whole lot. Generally, when we're talking to people, we hear a lot about disrespect, or we hear a lot about, hey, we deserve. Is that more of a, hey, we deserve what we've earned type of thing, or?
Like you said, we're moving to a new conference, and those guys have won Big 12 championships. They've won actual championships. Some of them have competed for national championships. I don't think anybody in the AAC has done anything like that, or at least in the recent years. So I feel like you say, it's respect is earned. It's not given.
What has David Agwebu been like for you as a new teammate? What has he brought to the locker room?
I'm not gonna lie, like David Agwebu. So I just got considered to be a captain. So but I know coming from Oklahoma that he was a captain. So sometimes I just come up there sometimes and I just kind of ask him, like, hey, what do you think about, in which way can I be like the best captain that I can be? Just because I go back and watch games, like I just like to watch film in my extra time, and I just watch the TV copy of games.
Right.
And so I listen to what the commentators say about him, and they really think about him like pretty highly. So I just go back and just try to get some insight from him, on how I can be a better leader and player.
Well, and I think one of the things that stands out about you very clearly is you're around the football. I mean, you've made plays. Like, what's the next step for you? Because you're a guy that you're around the football, you're causing turnovers, you're recovering fumbles. Like, obviously, those are the highlights that everybody knows and everybody talks about. So, what are you working on? What's next in your game?
So when you say next in my game, you mean like
what do you want to do better? What do you want to grow at? What do you,
yeah.
Is there something that do you do things like that? You identify
yeah,
things that you want to improve
most definitely. I feel like if you ain't getting better, you're either staying the same or you're getting worse. So me personally, I know I want to play heavier. I want to play around 255. I know I ended the season, I was pretty light last year because I was getting a whole lot of reps.
What did you end at?
I ended at probably like 230 something.
Wow.
I started at like 245 and I ended like at 230. Like last year was my first year like really playing, like starting games. Like that was my first year doing stuff like that. So but I mean I know I want to play heavier, and I feel like that'll help me really take my game to the next level as far as setting the edge a lot firmer.
Yeah.
You know, speed to power. I know that's something that I really need to evolve, add into my game a lot more, because everybody knows I can speed rush, but take that speed rush away. Now what are you going to do? So now I need to play heavier so I could do that. That right there, I'll probably say watch a lot more film and live in the treatment room, man. Now I know I got to live in the treatment room, dog.
Well, you know what? That's a lot of weight. But if it's the right weight, it's not that much weight, right?
See, that's what everybody said. Everybody said that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. But I mean, I've played at 255 before, and that's when me personally I felt my most dominant. So,
dude, you would be a monster at 255.
Yeah, I feel like that's the weight for me, dog.
My God, like, is it hard for you to keep weight on? Because if you're losing 15 pounds in a season, is that a nutrition thing? Is that how do you keep that weight on?
I feel like it's just me working on consistency. I don't feel like it's more of a nutrition thing. I feel like it's just me knowing my daily habits and what it is that I need to do. I need to wake up a little earlier so I can eat breakfast before I go work out.
What time you get out of bed?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, it varies some days, but majority of the time I try to get out of bed like 6:30.
Wow. So you're an early guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I gotta eat breakfast. You know, I like to press snooze a couple of times. So, like I said, 6:30. I really got to be up by 7 though. Yeah, I got to be out to bed eating breakfast by 7.
But isn't it amazing when you don't hit snooze and you make the choice to get out of bed at 6:30?
Consistency, yeah.
That 30 minutes is huge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
It's crazy. It's like you said, the 30 minutes is a long time when you're actually being productive, but 30 minutes of sleep is nothing. It's crazy though. It's crazy though, but.
Yeah, well, you are, I researching you last night, sitting around, I was like, hey, the playmaker, stat guy, but you are really impressive. Like, you seem to have a certain presence about you. Thank you. We talk to a lot of dudes like you, and you have a certain presence. So, Nelson, good to meet you, man.
Yes,
Stay
sir.
healthy. Look forward to seeing you, man. Thank you. There you go. Off and running at Big 12 Football Media Days on the Monty Show.